UK air traffic control chaos. 100 plus flights canceled. Imagine being halfway to your brother's wedding when your flight gets canceled. That's exactly what happened to John Carr, the best man caught in a travel nightmare when a sudden technical glitch brought UK air traffic control systems to a halt. This 20-minute radar outage caused hours of chaos, delayed hundreds of flights, and left travelers stranded. And here's what we've uncovered about this aviation crisis. The ripple effect of a 20-minute blip. A radar failure at NATS, National Air Traffic Services, the UK's air traffic control provider, shut down flight operations temporarily. While the issue was resolved within 20 minutes, the ripple effect was devastating. Planes diverted to Paris, Geneva, and other cities. Passengers like Louise Robinson sat on tarmacs for hours. Asha, an 18-year-old on her first interrailing trip, faced a mid-air turnaround after 50 minutes in the sky. Stressful, rubbish, and utterly disappointing. These were the terms travelers used. What went wrong? NATS denied any cybersecurity breach, blaming a radar system malfunction. They activated a backup system during the outage, prioritizing safety by reducing traffic flow. But here's the kicker. Even with the system restored, ground crews struggled to manage backlogged planes. As one pilot explained, staffing shortages at Gatwick Airport delayed flights further. Passenger reactions, frustration, and resilience. John Carr, traveling to Norway, called it a rubbish experience with no warning about cancellations. His friend, James Hedges, described waiting in the departure lounge, having paid for car parking, only to find their flight abruptly canceled. Yet amid the chaos, David and his family on a diverted EasyJet flight to Birmingham remained upbeat, noting that passengers, including children, stayed in good spirits. The bigger picture, a repeat of past failures. This isn't NATS' first outbreak. 2 years ago, a similar technical glitch canceled over 2,000 flights. Liberal Democrat leader Ed Davey called the latest incident unacceptable, demanding a government investigation into NATS systems. Ryanair even demanded the resignation of NATS leadership. By the numbers, 122 flights canceled, 67 departures, 55 arrivals, with Heathrow bearing the brunt. Systems operate on razor-thin margins. Any delay snowballs into major disruptions. Summer travel season, already peak for aviation, compounded the impact. What's next? NATS is cooperating with airlines to clear backlogs, while the UK Department for Transport promises to investigate. Passengers urge transparency. Doug McLean, a former NATS manager, called the lack of clarity on the cause disappointing. Now the question for you. Should critical national infrastructure like air traffic control face stricter oversight after repeated failures? Share your thoughts in the comments. For more, explore our full story, Flight Disruption After Major UK Air Traffic Outage, link. And if your trip was affected, check out What Are My Rights If My Flight is Cancelled or Delayed, link. Travel chaos. Air traffic control failure disrupts summer holidays. Travelers were thrust into a whirlwind of confusion and frustration this week when a critical failure in the UK's air traffic control system brought nationwide flights to a grinding halt. Imagine the shock and disappointment. You've planned your dream summer getaway, only to find yourself stranded at the airport with no clear answers in sight. But here's where it gets controversial. Some are questioning whether this disruption was just a technical blip, or if there could be more sinister forces at play. On Wednesday afternoon, British airspace was closed after a radar malfunction wreaked havoc with flight operations. Although engineers managed to fix the technical issue within an hour, the ripple effect from hundreds of delayed, diverted, and canceled flights is expected to cause days of ongoing disruption. At least 155 flights have already been canceled, echoing in airports up and down the country. The incident couldn't have come at a worse time, coinciding with the summer peak, and just before what is typically the busiest day of the year for air travel. Holidaymakers were left sitting on tarmacs at major UK airports: Heathrow, Gatwick, Birmingham, Stansted, Cardiff, as arriving flights were shuffled off to European cities like Amsterdam, Paris, and Brussels. Some, like a group of 40 French tourists in Edinburgh, missed not one but 2 return flights to Paris. Meanwhile in Portugal, flight crews scrambled to keep passengers comfortable in the Faro heat by distributing water during long delays. The National Air Traffic Services, NATS, the organization responsible for the UK's airspace, faced fierce criticism not only for the chaos, but also for its handling of public communication. NATS would not rule out the possibility of hostile foreign interference as a cause, which predictably triggered urgent calls for a thorough investigation into any potential cyber attacks or security lapses. Despite these concerns, NATS officially stated there was no evidence of a cyber-related issue. Is this really the full story, or is something being held back from the public? And this is the part most people miss. A single technical glitch can expose vulnerabilities that threaten national resilience on a much broader scale. Travel Secretary Heidi Alexander promptly warned that continued chaos was likely, urging passengers to check with their individual airports for updated information. Aviation analyst John Strickland further explained that because airlines are already operating at full capacity for the summer, the setbacks could persist for several days. This compounds the frustration for strained travelers, as compensation from airlines is off the table. The incident is deemed outside of their direct control. Some readers may recall that just 4 months earlier, a fire at a solitary electricity substation forced Heathrow to shut down for nearly an entire day, proving that infrastructure fragilities are far from a rare occurrence. This latest fiasco drew parallels to a 2023 meltdown, when an engineer working from home struggled to resolve another lengthy outage, leading to global travel chaos affecting hundreds of thousands and costing an estimated £100 million. Unsurprisingly, airline executives are demanding accountability. Ryanair took the unusual step of publicly urging Martin Rolfe, NATS's chief executive, to resign, blasting his leadership and claiming that lessons from previous failures have evidently not been learned. Passengers are once again facing avoidable delays due to continued mismanagement, said Ryanair's Neil McMahon, calling on the government to act decisively and reform NATS's operations. For its part, NATS insisted in a statement that the technical fault had been resolved and that normal operations were being restored. However, their silence on the precise technical cause and on Mr. Rolfe's future left many unsatisfied. Adding fuel to the controversy, Liberal Democrat leader Sir Ed Davey called for a government inquiry to determine whether a foreign power might have been involved. He stressed that after a similar incident 2 years ago, another technical breakdown is totally unacceptable. Should the government step in more forcefully to safeguard our skies? Or is this just a case of rare and unfortunate bad luck? The Department for Transport reassured the public that NATS systems are up and running again, but also promised a closer look into the root cause and the overall reliability of the country's air traffic infrastructure. So here's the big question. Is Britain's air traffic control system truly robust enough to withstand modern challenges? Or are further disruptions simply a matter of time? What do you think? Should heads roll? Or are these just the unpredictable realities of complex technology? Dive into the comments and let your voice be heard. Breaking: UK flight chaos. Major air traffic control failure grounds planes nationwide. In a surprising turn of events, flights departing from airports across the United Kingdom faced significant disruptions due to a serious technical glitch in air traffic control on Wednesday. This incident has raised concerns among travelers and industry experts alike, highlighting the fragility of air travel infrastructure. Airports throughout Britain, including notable hubs such as Edinburgh Airport in Scotland, Newcastle Airport in Northern England, and Gatwick Airport in London, took to social media platform X to announce that outgoing flights were temporarily halted. Many other airports also reported delays, leaving passengers in a state of uncertainty. However, it's worth noting that inbound flights were still permitted to land at Gatwick, providing a glimmer of hope amidst the chaos. At one point, monitoring service Flight Radar 24 indicated a complete standstill, with no flights taking off from UK airports. Although operations resumed later with departures from several locations. The disruption stemmed from a technical issue at an air traffic control center, responsible for overseeing a vast expanse of 200,000 square miles of airspace. The National Air Traffic Services, NATS, issued a statement acknowledging the problem and later confirmed that their engineers had swiftly restored the affected systems. They expressed their commitment to working closely with airlines and airports to mitigate the impact of this disruption, while also apologizing for the inconvenience caused to travelers. In a related note, the UK's Civil Aviation Authority, CAA, took to X to remind passengers of their rights in the event of flight delays or cancellations, emphasizing the importance of being informed during such situations. Interestingly, budget airline Ryanair seemed to take a jab at the CEO of NATS, directly mentioning him in a response to a news article discussing the delays. This public criticism adds another layer to the ongoing conversation about accountability in air traffic management. It's important to recognize that this isn't the first instance of airspace disruptions in the UK this year. Back in March, a fire at an electrical substation near Heathrow Airport, the country's busiest travel hub, led to the cancellation of over 1,300 flights worldwide. Heathrow was shut down for an astonishing 18 hours, resulting in financial losses for airlines amounting to tens of millions of pounds and leaving thousands of passengers stranded. As this story continues to develop, it raises critical questions about the reliability of air travel systems and the measures in place to prevent such occurrences in the future. What do you think about the current state of air traffic control in the UK? Are these technical issues a sign of deeper problems within the system? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments.